What is up, guys? Ginter here, and in today's video we're gonna go vlog style. I'm gonna shoot on this new DJI Osmo Pocket 3 because I just don't have a lot of time to set up all my fancy camera stuff, so hopefully it's good. In any case, this video is gonna be a POS. No, a PSL. No, I mean a PSA. Although a PSL does sound good right now. Yeah, let's go get some coffee first. That sounds delicious. All right, got the PSL now. We can get this video really started. So basically, if you caught the very last end of my previous video, you will know that this GT died on me. Basically what happened was we were just messing around the parking lot doing some bonks and curb nudges, and well, one of those curb nudges was a failure. I just got the nose up, but I couldn't get the tire up. Hey, it happens. In any case, I kept on it because sometimes you can continue, if you continue to kind of scooch it, you can get it up the curb. I did this for about 10 to 15 seconds, somewhere around there. A little longer than normal, but the tire was free spinning, which means it was torquing out pretty top speed, and I just couldn't get it up. That sounds wrong. Anyways, I stepped off the board, and then when I looked down, there was smoke coming out of it. And at first, one of my buddies was like,
"Whoa, dude, your tire's smoking."
And as I got closer to it, I could smell that that was not burnt rubber. That smelled like burned electronics. I wasn't sure what the problem was, so I took it home and kind of slept on it. And the next day, here's what I found out. Well, my GT's broke again. I don't know what it is. By the way, the custom hay rail guards worked out pretty good. In any case, if you didn't get a chance to watch the Halloween ride video, go check it out. I talk about the little things I did to the board to try to make it match my costume. But also it's just nice seeing everyone else's costumes. So I just pulled off the bumper, and that right there is my first sign that there was something burning or smoking, because this is a brand new bumper. And if you didn't know, right there is right about where the motor plug is. Oh, that smells bad. Like bad electronics, bad. Take a look at that. You see that one? See how black it is? That right there is where it happened. The one on the right is gone. Like, I think it's straight up melted. All right, I'm just gonna check one more thing here. And just take a look inside the controller and make sure nothing fishy looks off in here. Capacitors all look good to me. I think I just got a burnt motor cable connection, and well, time to scour the internet to see what my options are. So that's what I did. And wow, I found quite a few reports of bad or burned motor cable plugs on the GT. I also heard that Future Motion charges around $700, as they won't just fix the plug, they're going to want to replace both the controller and the motor. And considering I recently paid FM hundreds for a new battery after only a year, and never got a reasonable explanation as to why it went bad so soon, I expect the same canned responses I've been getting from the last 4 times I sent my GT in for repair. And before I continue, I hear you, Vesk it.
Go Vesk.
You should Vesk it.
Oh yeah, dude, you should totally go Vesk.
Look, I'm a very patient person, but I'm starting to think that for how much I ride and how I ride, I need a board that I can repair at a reasonable price. But before I go that route, I decided I should at least attempt to fix it. So, back to the internet to find solutions. I came across other people who have shared their repair photos and diagrams. I even saw recommendations for plug replacements, and yeah, I even watched a bunch of videos on how to solder properly. Armed with some new knowledge, I ended up buying a bunch of supplies and prayed to the float gods that it would work. Disclaimer, this is not a tutorial. I do not know what I'm doing until I do, so take all this info with a grain of salt. And if you have suggestions on how I should have done things, please leave comments below afterwards. Anyways, one of the things I learned about the motor plug is that there are 3 large pins and 6 small pins. The large ones are for power, and the small ones are for the Hall sensors. And no, you can't just buy a replacement plug as they are proprietary to FM, but even if I could buy one, I'm not sure I would use it. More on that later. So, this was my plan. Continue to use the current plug just for the Hall sensors and splice in some cables to the MT60 plug that I bought for the power. So, first, I toned things out with a multimeter to figure out which pins went where. Then I grabbed my razor blade and clenched my teeth. Actually, I used scissors because I was worried that I would cut through those thin Hall sensor wires. No, seriously, I felt like I was defusing a bomb, and my watch confirmed it. After getting the outer sheathing cut away, I carefully snipped all the thick wires so that I can confirm that the burnt motor cable was the only thing that fried. All right, who wants to see the jankiest possible motor connection? That's right. My motor cable is currently connected with speaker wire. There's the 3 main connections to the motor. I left the Hall sensors connected into the existing motor plug. And then under the hood here is the connections held in place by badge holder clips, and trying not to short it with a float life card. What do you think? You think it's gonna work? You think it's gonna work? I already know. It's gonna engage the foot pad. Eh? I'm a freaking genius. Yeah, I was pretty stoked that it worked. But now it was time for the second big commitment. Making a new hole in the controller box. I covered up the main board with painter's tape and slowly cut out a large enough hole for the new power cables to go through. I even used a Dremel on the inner edges to smoothen it out to prevent it cutting into those cables. I made sure everything would fit where it needed and started soldering everything up to the best of my ability. And the last step was attempting to get things waterproofed. So early on, I actually made sure to apply a bit of electronics grade silicone to the back of the plugs, and I pre-fit these waterproof marine grade heat shrink tubing to all the wires. The other gaping hole was, well, the gaping hole. And yeah, I kind of winged this part, but I found this piece of rubber in my spare plumbing parts bag, and then I dremeled a little notch kind of around it and managed to insert it into the oversized hole, and it fit super snug in there. It looked like water could still get through a little bit, so I added some silicone just in case. Oh yeah, and I was able to get the Sure Start back in there too. And as you've already seen from the coffee run, it is back to working again. Well, mostly. The LED bar on the top doesn't seem to light up at all anymore, but it was kind of acting up before all this, so may or may not be related. In any case, this fix only cost me 10 bucks for the pigtailed MT60 plugs. Okay, actually it cost me more because I needed a better solder gun and drill bits for metal and all those other little things. You know what? I'll leave everything I bought in the video description in case it's useful for you. Anyways, this video isn't about how to fix your busted ass motor plug. This is a warning. The GT motor plug sucks. The locking ring is prone to breaking. That's why there are multiple third-party companies selling retention clips for the entire plug. But heck, even FM sells the locking ring for 30 freaking dollars if you just want their locking ring. The other problem is the seal on it is not that good, and it's a weak point for water to get in, especially if your locking ring is broke. And I even read somewhere that a plug is barely rated enough to handle the peak amp draw, which would explain why a dirty plug would give you power issues or even a full-on meltdown. In my case, I never broke my locking ring, and I even used TFL's cable retention holder since I got the WTFs on here, yet I still had this happen. My theory is that the plug was exposed to water at some point, which is rare because it rarely rains here in Phoenix. But yeah, it must have slowly corroded until it just couldn't deliver the necessary power and thus overheated. So this is my PSA. Always check your motor cable plug. Make sure the pins are shiny gold, and make sure it is secure in whatever means you can get it to be. I'd go as far as putting dielectric grease on it to prevent corrosion too. And if you have any power drops, power sags, etc., and your battery is full, check your motor cable plug. If it looks like this, clean it with a fiberglass brush pen and coat it with dielectric grease and pray. I was lucky that this happened when it did because I was just messing around doing tricks. This could have happened when I was maxing out the motor plug current going full speed on one of our desert trails. Thankfully, it didn't. Look, I absolutely hate making these kind of videos, but I feel like this issue needs more attention because I just don't want to see anybody get hurt. Anyways, that's Ginter for now. If you found this helpful or learned something, do me a solid, hit the thumbs up button, and subscribe if you're into that sort of thing. Please ride safe out there, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.